Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel for today's video. I wanted to talk to you today about manifesting, expanding, having breakthroughs, and a solid relationship. So let's jump in. When you wake up to all of this toxicity that's been in your life, you've been dealing with it for over 40 years or something, and maybe you weren't toxic, but you became a toxic enabler of it. So you're playing into a percentage of it, because if there was no toxic enablers, then the toxic individual wouldn't have a chance to be toxic. They could just fight with themselves. So the enabler, the person that people pleases them, the person that comforts them when they don't deserve to be comforted, when they don't deserve your attention. It's an injustice. And injustices turn into bad reaping, negative reaping on you because of decisions that you make. Everything you do in life, this is what you're going to learn. This is what I want to get to you. Because this is what I've been dealing with, and this is what I've been understanding, and things have been manifested in my life, and things have been going in such a better direction for me because I have been operating on a new level. And that new level is to look at things more pinpoint and see where my consents are, where my boundaries are, what is just. Because when you've come out of a narcissistic relationship and you've woken to narcissism, and this applies to all in the collective here. This is for the toxic individual and for the non-toxic individual, because this helps everybody. But when you come out of the narcissistic relationship, they are so toxic, and you weren't so much. You've had ebbs and flows with that, right? So you had a relationship that was toxic, and then you had a break from it, maybe several years, and then you find yourself in another one that's even worse. And because you had the break, you have the ability to see the difference, a clear snapshot photo of what your life was like in the toxicity, what it was like coming out of the toxicity as you made better decisions to change to, I call it repentance, because you're repenting when you make good change, because it's drawing you closer to the Almighty. Listen, whether you believe in a creator or not, I do. And I think it's pretty irrefutable to think we live in a world and there's no Almighty here. Everything that we're dealing with on a daily basis is not just happenstance. So when you've drawn closer to the Almighty, He's the all-powerful one, all goodness, all love, and you're getting in tune with Him. You can call it whatever you want, but when you draw closer to Him, He draws closer to you, and all of your blessings are determined by the utmost, the Almighty, period. If you were going to create a world and you put people in it, who do you think is going to determine their blessings and their cursings? And if you are, God is love, God is truth, God is all of the 9 fruits of the Spirit, is what is the interpretation of who God is, who Christ is, right? So love, joy, peace, goodness, gentleness, kindness, having long suffering, good self-control. You don't just get impulsive and sleep around and do things like that. You commit. You don't fractionate yourself. I think a lot of times we make consents and covenants and contracts all day long. And that's basically to say the decisions that you decide on, they have repercussions. And sometimes this is the thing. Sometimes you don't see it now. A lot of times you don't. When you see it is down the road. And so that's the tricky thing with negative reaping and positive reaping. And when you're in a toxic relationship, and for instance, the narcissist, they like to have multiple relationships. So because they're codependent and they can't be by themselves, which what they really need to do is work on being by themselves or healing that up, learning some independence in their life, not having to hold on to somebody's hip all the time. And you don't need to get validated. You validate yourself, but being a righteous judge, you see. And when, for instance, the narcissist, they have multiple relationships at the same time, they're fractionating their soul. They're given a piece of them here, a piece of them here, and a piece of them there. And they're spreading all of their spiritual energy amongst all these different people. And then they wonder why they're confused, depressed, anxious, paranoid, why things aren't going right in their life, because God didn't make you to do that. He made you to be loyal to one person. And if you can't commit to one person, then don't do it. Don't do anything. Because this is where you go wrong. This is a major piece, because betrayal and cheating and betrayal go hand in hand, y'all. And betrayal is in many different ways, but just in general, I was just using that as a general piece, because you don't want to fractionate yourself. When you start to fractionate yourself, then what are you doing? You have to spend your time in multiple places. You have to wear masks, right? Because you're doing all these different things, which means you have to be a false self to everybody. Because if you were your true self, you would get caught. You would get in trouble. You would have repercussions right away. And that would be good, because then you would see the response to the negative energy and the negative reaping right away. But when you walk in falsity, you don't get your reaping right away. You get it on the back end. You get it later. And that's why I always say, after you leave the narcissist, after you cut off those ties, unhook, unlatch, unchain from them, uncord from them, and unplug from them, that's when they really get their negative reaping from what they've done to you. And I'm not even saying that you want to have revenge or vengeance, because I don't even care about that. I'm beyond that. I think that there are a lot of people, when you first get injured, you feel those things, but those are things that as you heal, you get over them and you want to, because that's not a good way to live either. You don't want vengeance on people. A lot of times you want to walk away and lay it down at the cross. You want to give to God, and you want to unload all of it to the Lord, because then you don't have to carry it and you are innocent. And when you walk away from somebody who's betrayed you, and you get vengeance on them, you're just like them. I mean, that's the way it looks, and that's the way you will get your reaping. And when you're innocent, stay innocent. By all means, don't get vengeful. Lay it down at the cross, because what'll happen is you'll get blessed through it. And this is the thing. When you get vengeance and things like that, or you continue to go down the road of, say, doing things you're not supposed to do, that stuff's going to continue in your life until you learn the lesson. So you're going to continually get negative reaping. You're going to continually walk down a path that's going to be cursed, at least in that area. And if it's a significant one, like when you get into dealing with hurting people, what are the 10 commandments about? The first 5 are commandments between how you respect and how your loyalty and love is to God. And the second 5 commandments are your loyalty and your respect to man and woman. Why is it like that? Because God has to get his respect. He is the imperial one, all-knowing, all-seeing, and all-powerful, almighty. And he created you. He deserves that, if nothing less, right? And there's much more to say about that, but just real quick, at least that. And what he loves the most is man and woman, because he made us in his creation to be the pinnacle of his creation here on earth. That's his most prized possession here on this earth. That's what he cares about the most. And he made us in his image and likeness, it even says in the word, which means all of the things the Almighty speaks about and God speaks about, it's always life-bearing. Do you hear that? In his image, in his likeness. And to live, when you're doing evil things, when you're chopping yourself up and you're going in many different directions, when you're treating people wrong because you have your own either lustful desires or you don't care, you just don't give a damn. That's not good, y'all. I mean, the reaping that comes, the negative reaping, if you want to be a success in life, There's different types of successes. You can be financially successful, but you really want to be spiritually and psychologically and emotionally, and you want to be physically successful and successful in your relationships. And to do that is to make correction. And when you come out of a narcissist relationship, you also grew up in that narcissistic household with the narcissist. I mean, you were siblings, right? And a lot of times you have to walk away from your family and you just see them on occasion for an amount of time, maybe a limited time, maybe a couple hours or something. And you take somebody with you, a buffer, so they can't act stupid. Or if they mistreat you, you walk away, you leave, and they'll know that. And they'll catch on to that. Man, I'll get up and leave my family in a second if they disrespect me. And they know that, so they don't do that no more. And I'll see them once in a while. But I ain't seen them too much, because then they'll take advantage of you. They'll think it's okay. I do it because I do the best that I can. And it's not something that I prefer. I wanted to be a family man, you know? So you got to look at things for what they are, man. You know, they say take the rose-colored glasses off, right? That's because the rose-colored glasses it's showing you the wrong vision. You know, you got these goggles on, and they're showing you what you want to see, which is an illusion. And an illusion makes you deluded. And what's an illusion? It's a fake, it's a lie. And who are you lying to? Yourself. That's why when the narcissist comes to you, they get you in an emotional state and hijack you, because it's nothing wrong with being emotional, but if you don't have some kind of logic and sense to it, then it's going to build illusions as well. And it's going to defunk you. And I guess I wanted to get to these things because you have to start looking at things from how can I be more healthy in my lifestyle? Because I want to be successful and I have a limited time here on the earth. And some of you guys have children. And the last thing you need is for you to raise somebody that ends up toxic. And you're somewhat responsible for it. You're responsible, like I said, it's good for you to guide individuals, but they're going to be who they're going to be, even if they're your children. And you got to let that happen. You got to let them go and let them control their own birthright. But there's a time, like I said, you help guide their birthright until they're 18, but you can't control them, but you can help them to be vulnerable with them and help them to discuss situations that come up and work through them with them. Why do you feel that way? Do you think that's wrong, or have you done it better? How could have you done it better? Make them think and process these emotions. A lot of times, you know, we're brought up, especially in these families, where it's just shut up and obey. Don't think, do what I tell you. Why are we doing it this way? Just because. That's not right. That's not teaching the child anything, unless they're really intuitive. It's not a good example. And so those are ways where you can help out your child to guide them. But at the end of the day, they're going to be their own spirit, and you can't beat yourself up for that if they turn out to be going down a road that is not the same destiny as yours. And maybe yours is better, but it's choices. And even when it comes to the narcissist, it's choices, y'all. Anybody who plays the victim is not working with a full deck, man. Because you're giving your power to the enemy. You're saying that you have no ability and no power to make change. And that's not true. Because at the end of the day, everybody could complain and play the victim for something. Some more than others. Some had it hard. But a lot of times when you walk in folly because you believe either the constructs of your family without processing your own thoughts and emotions, you're going to walk in folly, because if they have a terrible construct that they believe, and then they teach it to you, and you refuse to process certain types of emotions or to look at things any deeper than what they believe, you're just going to be fulfilling the curse on your life, and you might potentially make it worse. And then you wonder why your life is in shambles, it's toxic, people don't like you, you haven't made a name for yourself, you're known for bad things, cheap things, getting over on people, using people, abusing people. You can't be trusted in a relationship. I'm going to stay with this person right now because they got money, or I'm going to date all these people because I want to make love to all of them. Uh, Then you wonder. Everything you do is a consent, a contract, and a covenant. Every decision you make. And you have to learn to have good self-control, because what we're living in this day and age is a bunch of people that are wiling out. And they're wiling out because we're continuing to degrade generation after generation after generation, because all we're doing is living off the last generation's thoughts and emotions. And if they're toxic, we're going to take them and we're going to degrade them more if we just view things from that point of view. If we look at things like, well, it's okay if the government made it legal. The government's not God, y'all. The government is not morally and ethically sound. So just because the government made it legal doesn't make it morally and ethically sound. Just because we live in a republic and we're a democracy doesn't mean that if we follow all those statutes that we're going to make it to the heavenlies, y'all. That we're going to walk in blessing. A lot of times all those people running things, they don't have it out good for you, for any of us. They're dividers, conquerors, destroyers, greedy, manipulative, users, and abusers. Heartless and don't feel empathy because you're in a fallen system. This is not God's kingdom. It's not God's kingdom. And not many people are going to make it out of here and make it to the heavenlies because they choose to believe and walk in these fallen statutes, these fallen covenants. They walk in curses. A lot of times they don't even know how bad curses they're walking in. And what I've been learning through all this covenant and consent, I guess my point is when you leave the narcissistic relationship, you know without a shadow of a doubt they are so toxic that it has come onto you, and you are reaping such toxicity, it is showing up everywhere. And when you step away from them, it's like from day one, from you disengaging with them, you are getting blessed. And my point is what it woke to me is wow, reaping and sowing, man, it is true, true, true. It's the truest thing that I ever do know now. And that's what I want to get across to you, that what you do, you have to pay for. You have to answer for. And sometimes it comes in what they call karmic relationships, or whatever they want to call it in the world. Dysfunction, destruction, a path of deceit, cold, disheartened, no empathy, no love, no joy, no peace. You're slave to the grind and you're working for the enemy. It says in the word, there's no rest for the wicked, y'all. It says to follow the Lord because his yoke is easy and his burden is light. Meaning, it's the righteous way to live, and it's got nothing but benefits that come with it, but it's hard to do. But you're also promised to go to the heavenlies if you live right when you leave here for eternity, y'all. But when you walk in wickedness, you're always looking over your shoulder, behind your back. You're always reaping negative harvest, and you're wondering why things are breaking, falling apart. Money's it's just blowing out of your hands. It's disintegrating. It's like everything the narcissist touches, it disintegrates, and they wonder why. It's because they're a complete curse in every area of their life, and they don't give a damn. And then they don't want to be vulnerable. How do you do anything right when you can't be vulnerable? Love is vulnerability. Love and vulnerability are synonymous. Love and apologies are synonymous. Love and forgiving are synonymous. And if you don't have vulnerability, then you don't share in love. Now, the thing where people get it wrong is they want to be vulnerable in the wrong situations with the wrong types of people. They want to surround themselves around all these toxic individuals. Let's say they get out of toxic relationships, but then they have toxic friendships. You know, those can be karmics too. You reap what you sow by hanging out with them fools as well. Because you share in that because you're going into covenant with being their friend. So whatever they're doing that's stupid, because you're their friend, you're going to reap some of their negative harvest. You're going to mirror some of their negative things and not even know it. And when you build nothing but toxic people around you, You think it's okay, and it's not. And I'm trying to help you to understand because I've seen my life at the bottom, and I've seen what it draws down to you. And I've been through such low levels of depression, anxiety, paranoia, all of that. But a lot of times, man, I had to make major changes in my life, man, and it has its healing abilities. And until you see why you shouldn't be with somebody, when until you see the lesson that is to be learned, I don't need to be with this person because they're doing evil and I'm enabling it. So I'm in covenant with it. I'm part of it. So I have to pay for part of it in everything. And it'll come out in how your children act and operate and how successful they are, partially. And the way, because you're going to be talking to them. So now you're working with this toxic individual. You're a toxic enabler. So you're going to get some of that, their stuff manifest into you. And then you're going to be dealing with raising your child. So you're going to put it into them. You're filtering it into them, whether you know it or not, because you do know this. Through right and wrong, you do know you shouldn't be with this person. And the quicker you end it, is the better it's going to be for everybody around you. But you got to get all toxicity out of your life. The only toxicity that can be in your life is the toxicity that you cannot control. That's why I say in your personal life, you got to kick it all out. That's what you can control. And if you don't kick it all out, then you're going to pay for it. And you're going to pay for it in peace and joy instead of joy of depression. Instead of peace, you'll have paranoia. Instead of love, you'll have hatred. Instead of forgiveness, you'll have vengeance. Instead of loyalty, you'll have promiscuity. Instead of abundance, you'll have lack. Instead of life, you'll have death. Instead of being a builder, you'll be a destroyer. Instead of planting good seeds so that your future harvest will come back to you in goodness, you will be planting seeds of destruction in your life for your future. And your future creeps up on you quicker than you ever could imagine. And when you look at things, you have to know how it's going to all play out. You have to have some faith, y'all. Faith, hope, and love, right? We don't always know how things are going to work out. We can't have control over everything. But if you follow your heart, your intuition, you'll be okay. But you can't let it control your heart, control your mind separately. They should be in tune. It should come from your mind to your heart, but it should be in tune. But when they're different and you leave it up to the heart and you let somebody hijack your emotions, you're in trouble. But your intuition will never fail you. I don't think I've ever had it tell me the wrong thing. Maybe I didn't listen. Maybe I ran it over. But this is my point. This is how you get expansion in your life. It takes faith. It takes faith, but you have to have some logic in it, and your heart and your intuition needs to coincide with it. You want to feel right about it. But you're not going to know all the answers. You're not going to know how it's going to always turn out. But if you go into it with the right heart, you will be protected. And this is how you get expansion in your life. This is how you get things to manifest in greater ways. You can expand. You expand your reach. You expand your benefits, your abundance. Life starts to protrude from you in every avenue of your life. And you become a blessing. And this is where it says in the word that God will heal your land. When you walk in repentative ways, when you change from evil to goodness, when you make not sour decisions, but good ones, righteous ones. He will heal your land. He's not going to heal the country's land. He's not going to heal everybody's land because you decided to make a good change in your life. but he will heal everything that you walk on, everything that you touch, that it will have your stamp on it. Because you'll be known as being a righteous judge. And that's clout. And clout is something that you build. You don't get that overnight. It takes time to build clout. If you want to change bad perceptions that people have on your life, if you start to walk in righteousness, it'll take time, but you will gain clout with that time. Everything's building blocks. And people that have to get everything right away, they're not successful. They don't appreciate it, and they lose it quickly. But I've seen a lot of growth in my life when I started to understand contracts, consents, and covenants. It's greater than what we've been taught. This whole world system is God has built it on covenants, contracts, and consents. Because it shows your character in every move that you make. From who you like, who you choose to be around, who you spend your fuel on, who you spend your money on, who you spend your time with, where you frequent, everything. What you watch, who you help, everything. So be careful, y'all. And let's treat each other right. Thank you for watching. Until next time, Soldier.